It's Anne Sinclair from Digestive Detective, and my hair's a wreck this morning. Exciting day here at the Sinclair house today, as it's HSC Trials Day. So that's gone all well this morning. So I hope we hear it's gone all well this afternoon. So what I'm going to talk about today essentially is chewing. And why I want to talk about chewing is because I often think it's one of the biggest game changers that we forget about. And I often say it's not what we eat, but how our body processes what we eat. And for some of us, that's not that great. So this means we are what we can digest, absorb, and utilize. And not many of us are great at digesting and absorbing what we take in. So in part, the health of our organs and our body systems all play a part in how we digest things. So not only does chewing give us an opportunity to savor each mouthful that we eat, but it gets the complexities of taste and aroma and the how it feels, your mouth feel and all that in your mouth. So I recommend we chew, and we chew a lot. And I know for a lot of people, hi Deb, we're not that great at chewing. And that's a big problem for most of us. So we know that digestion is one of the essential jobs of our body. It's a series of actions that relies on the action before it for its success. So while some of the initial steps of digestion are chemical, the very first one, which is chewing, is mechanical. So it's something that doesn't often get impacted. So unless you're having dental issues or teeth issues, things aren't necessarily going to be difficult in that area. Whereas as chemical, things can go wrong. So mechanical is good. So when you chew the food that's in your mouth, you signal hormones and enzymes and gastric juices to initiate the process of digestion, because that's the whole point why we chew. It's why we used to chew. Not so many of us chew so much anymore. So the longer the food stays in this stage, so stays in your mouth, of chemical and mechanical decomposition in our mouth, the easier digestion is on the entire rest of the body. So not only is the food dissected into smaller bits, the more you chew it. Hi, John. But your saliva produces enzymes that continue to break down the food while it's in your mouth. It also has softening agents which allow the food to be molded into a round ball in your mouth, and that's called a bolus. And the bolus is then ready for swallowing. And I see my own family when they eat, because often some of them eat with their mouth open, which is disturbing at best, that they don't chew. And there's one that sits and chews and chews and chews and chews and chews forever. So you can see the difference. So what happens when you chew for a long time, it tells the rest of the digestive tract, so not just what's happening in your mouth, it tells, your esophagus to get lubricated, it tells your stomach to increase your hydrochloric acid. So, hi Mina. So it takes a long, by chewing for a long period of time, it gets all those other systems really revved up and ready to take in the food that's coming down. And well-chewed food glides through the esophagus and into the stomach, rather than having, dried and unchewed and bigger chunks really are difficult to get down into your stomach. The other thing is, once it gets to your stomach, they're really big chunky bits if you don't chew them, and it's really difficult, especially if your digestive fire isn't that great. It will make it really hard for you to break them down. So that's good. So I have seen chewing eliminate bloating, gas, and abdominal pain. I have also had one client, by chewing alone, resolve their reflux. So she took no medications. All she did was spend 40 to 50 times every mouthful. Oh, that's good, Mina. On every bite. And I think the really interesting thing for me was her side benefit of this was that she actually lost some weight. And she wasn't planning to lose weight. But how she lost the weight is because she chewed for so long. She found that she got fuller quicker. And really, she said to me that she felt like she had been giving herself serving sizes that were way too big. So it was a good way for her to get her brain to catch up with her mouth, And then, because when you just chew a couple of times and eat, you tend to eat more before you get that those hormones switch on and say you're full. Whereas this really helped her to slow down and not to eat so much. So that's really good. So chewing for me is a cheap and easy way to increase the health and the efficacy of the entire digestive system. So digestion, we know, is one of the biggest expenditures of energy that the body is. It's the most energy that the body has to use when you're digesting. Hello, Rita. So when you chew better, you stop the body from having to use so much energy on breaking the food down, and then you'll have a reserve of energy to use for something else. What could you do with that energy, essentially? So there's great things. So one of the things with chewing, it involves your tongue. And so the tongue's got a really important role in keeping food in your mouth. And because we're also used to that chunky swallow, you put it in, you chew a couple of times, you swallow, it'll take you about 7 to 10 days to unlearn that and to train your tongue to stay in your mouth and to chew for longer. And so I recommend that you chew 20 to 30 times per bite. You can actually do more, but 20 to 30 times when you're starting out seems like a lot. So I always recommend starting there. I know it's a really daunting task, but stick with it. It will become a habit, and it's one of those things that you need to practice. So what I would suggest, if you have a knife and fork and you take a bite, put it down between bites. And I always put my hands between my knees because I'm not that great at this either, so I work on this quite a lot. So I think it's really good to put your hands between your knees while you chew, because that discourages you from swallowing all the bits of big by having another bit already ready to go. So try that to start with. So I think for me, homework this week for me is to really focus on what I'm chewing, because I know that it can make really big improvements here. So if anybody else wants to try this week, why don't we all give it a go together and leave some comments to say that you'll give it a try. And look, I just think it was fantastic that I've had a client resolve complete reflux issues with no supplementation, no herbs, nothing else. Yes, Mina, eating while watching TV, or doing a computer or looking at your phone, all really distract you from doing that job, because it's not mindful. Then when you are mindlessly eating, you will eat more, you won't chew as much, and you'll eat quicker than you would normally eat if you weren't watching the TV. It's like when you drive the car, you become on an automatic pilot, and you just do it because that's what it is. So try that, everybody. See how you go. I look forward to talking to you on Wednesday. Bye.